Want to speak real Arabic from your first lesson? Sign up for your free lifetime account at ArabicPod101.com. Want to speak real Arabic from your first lesson? Sign up for your free lifetime account at ArabicPod101.com.
Hi, welcome to Introduction to Arabic. My name is Alicia, and I'm joined by...
Hi everyone, I'm Yafa. In this series, you will learn everything you need to know to get started learning Arabic.
That's right, and we are here to help guide you on your journey. In this lesson, you'll learn the reasons why you should start learning a new language, why you should learn Arabic in particular, and how to get started. There are countless reasons, but perhaps the biggest one of all is that it could actually change your life. Learning a new language unlocks new pathways that are off limits to you now. There are certain things that you simply cannot do without having the technical or cultural skills that come from learning a new language.
Like working or living in another country.
Knowing another language provides you with greater job opportunities. You have the freedom to move to another country halfway around the world and be able to earn a living, or even better yet, build a career from it, instead of just being stuck in one place. Language allows you to visit or live in places that you may never even have considered going, simply because that wasn't a possibility for you. Knowing another language simply gives you more options to choose from.
And learning a new language also helps you to be more open-minded and see the world from a new perspective.
Language and culture go hand in hand. The world is a big place, and by broadening your understanding of other cultures, it allows you to be more empathetic and understanding of the many different ways that people live their lives. With language, you're able to see and experience more, which helps you to grow as a person.
Learning a new language also improves your memory.
Several studies have consistently shown that those who study another language have improved memory as opposed to those who didn't learn another language. Learning another language also keeps your brain healthy by significantly delaying the onset of Alzheimer's and dementia. This difference can be as much as 4 to 5 more years of quality life.
And those are just some of the reasons you should learn another language. The list just goes on and on.
Now you know the benefits of studying another language, but why should you learn Arabic in particular?
The Arab world is well known as a ceaseless supply of oil. It's rich in resources with enormous oil and natural gas reserves. In fact, 7 of the top 20 countries that produce the most oil come from Arab nations.
Not to mention that Arabic is spoken in more than 20 countries with roughly 300 million native speakers worldwide. This makes Arabic one of the most widely spoken languages in the world. Knowing Arabic opens up many business and career opportunities.
The region's instability has not affected its tourism industry, which is considered the fastest growing sector in the region, with Egypt, UAE, Lebanon, Saudi Arabia, and Jordan leading the way. Surely you have heard of the ancient pyramids of Giza or the Burj Khalifa. Well, these are both famous attractions in the Arab world, where Arabic is the official language.
The majority of the Arabian population can't speak English, so if you're planning on making a few friends in any Arab country, being able to speak Arabic is an absolute must.
Another sector that is growing steadily in the Arab world is telecommunications. Within less than a decade, many local companies have managed to successfully compete internationally as global players.
Islam is the most widespread religion in the Arab world, and it serves as a framework through which many Arabs see the world. Through your study of Arabic, you will pick up knowledge of Islamic traditions and beliefs that will introduce you to a new religion, or to gain insight into the second largest religion in the world.
So clearly, there are many reasons why you should learn Arabic.
Okay then, we've talked about the reasons you should learn Arabic, but how should they get started, Yafa?
Well, it's as simple as learning your first word in Arabic and building up from there.
The fact that will surprise you is that you already know some Arabic.
الكحول, ليمون, سكر.
Many English words have been acquired directly from Arabic, or else indirectly by passing from Arabic into other languages and then into English. So you must have said some Arabic words before.
Let's teach you something that is very useful. All Arabic vocabulary is made up of root consonants that you can easily memorize.
Can you explain this further, Yafa?
Sure, Alicia. For example, there are loads of words derived from the 3 letters kaf, ta, ba, which are equivalent to the English letters K, T, and B. and they are all connected in some way to writing. The verb كتب, which means he wrote, كاتب, which means writer, كتاب, which means book, and so on.
To better understand this point, we'll compare it to English. In English, we have many words derived from the same three letters. For example, run, runner, and running are all derived from the three letters R-U-N, and the three words are related to each other. It's the same thing in Arabic. You see the similarity in all of those words, don't you? All of those words come from the same three letters, so even if you only memorize the three letters K, T, and B, you could in many cases take a really good guess at the meaning of a word, since you know it has something to do with books and writing.
Exactly. That makes things much easier to learn.
Well, you'll learn more about Arabic writing in episode 4, so stay tuned. Now, try saying your first word in Arabic. Listen and repeat after Yafa.
شكراً.
Now your turn.
شكراً.
Try it again.
شكراً.
Well done. You just learned how to say thank you in Arabic. We've covered a lot of things already, so why don't we wrap up the first lesson and recap on what we've learned. In this lesson, you learned the benefits of studying Arabic. The Arab world has a colorful history with many things for you to see and learn, and to say thank you in Arabic, it's
شكراً.
In this lesson, you'll learn the basics of Arabic pronunciation. Pronunciation refers to the manner in which a word is spoken, so don't focus on reading what's on screen. Instead, focus on listening and repeating.
Arabic is what is called a stress-timed language.
This simply means that stressed syllables are valued more than unstressed syllables. Stressed syllables will be pronounced louder and longer than unstressed syllables, which are shortened to accommodate the rhythm of stressed syllables.
كتاب. كتاب.
Notice that the second syllable is stressed. It's pronounced longer and louder, while the first and final syllables are shortened.
كتاب.
If you think about it, this is identical to English. Opportunity. The stressed syllable to in opportunity is deemed more important, so it's pronounced longer than all other syllables. Listen to it again. Opportunity. Compare this once again with Arabic.
كتاب.
Opportunity.
كتاب.
Opportunity.
كتاب.
As you can see, the timing and rhythm of Arabic isn't much different than that of English. Despite what you may think, Arabic pronunciation is actually quite similar to English. There are more familiar sounds between English and Arabic than unfamiliar sounds. In fact, 75% of all sounds in Arabic exist in English too.
This means that if you were to simply imitate an Arabic speaker, your pronunciation will be correct roughly 75% of the time. Repeat after me. المدير. المدير.
Chances are your pronunciation was pretty spot on. The A, L, M, U, D, I, and R sounds are practically identical to English. Try again.
المدير.
Nearly all sounds in Arabic are identical to English, similar to the consonant sounds in this example. Since you already know how to pronounce most of these sounds, we only need to pay attention to the handful of sounds that are unique to Arabic. They're the ones we need to look out for. Of all the sounds that exist in Arabic, there are roughly 9 new consonant sounds that you need to practice.
ح, را, صا, ظا, طا, ظا, قا, غا, ع.
These 5 sounds are known as emphatic consonants. They're categorized as such because they're pronounced deep within the throat.
ظا, ح, صا, ظا, قا.
They sound like the D, H, S, T, and Q sounds respectively, except much more tense because the throat is constricted. Listen again.
ظا, ح, صا, ظا, قا. Let's take a look at another sound that's quite distinctively Arabic. Consider the phrase for good morning in Arabic. صباح الخير. صباح الخير. The letter Kha is a sound that's often used in Arabic between AK and NH sound. Kha.
It sounds as though you're clearing your throat.
خاء.
We'll cover this sound and all other sounds in Arabic in much more detail in future lessons. For now, let's close this lesson by recapping what we've learned. In this lesson, you learned that Arabic is a stress-timed language where the rhythm is akin to English. Collectively, nearly all sounds in Arabic are identical to the sounds of English, and there are only a handful of new sounds that you need to learn. In this lesson, you'll learn the basics of Arabic grammar. Word order refers to the order in which words are structured to form a sentence in a given language. Consider the English sentence, I ate an apple. But first, let's remove the article an here for simplicity. So we're just left with I ate apple. The basic word order for English is subject, verb, object, or SVO for short. If we break down the English sentence, I ate apple, we can see that the subject I is presented first, followed by the verb ate, and then finally, the object apple is positioned last. This is the basic word order for sentences in English.
Now, let's compare that same sentence, I ate an apple, in Arabic. أكلت أنا تفاحة. If we break down the Arabic sentence, we get the verb أكلت, which means ate, followed by the subject أنا, meaning I. And finally, we have the object تفاحة, meaning apple. Arabic is actually written in red from right to left. We will cover this aspect more in the next episode on writing. The word order for Arabic then is verb, subject, object, or VSO for short.
The same sentence in Arabic then is essentially ate I apple. Verb first, then subject and object last.
Okay, let's move on to the next section.
English is what is called a subject-prominent language. This simply means that the subject is slightly more important than other components in the sentence. It's the key piece of information other components in the sentence relate to. Who is doing the action is slightly more important than what is being done or which object it's been done to in English.
Arabic, on the other hand, is defined as a null subject language. That essentially means that the subject isn't valued as much in Arabic as it is in English. In fact, Arabic speakers would likely omit the subject from a sentence altogether wherever they can.
Such as when the subject was about you, the speaker, or if the subject has already been established and you're just continuing the conversation.
Let's take a look at this phenomenon on null subject in a bit more detail.
More often than not, if you wanted to say, I ate an apple in Arabic, you would not say,
أكلت أنا تفاحة.
Instead, you would more likely say, ate apple in Arabic,
أكلت تفاحة.
where you omit the subject I. Most Arabic sentences are constructed and spoken like this in real life.
أكلت تفاحة.
In most situations, such as a one-on-one conversation, it's clear that the person who's speaking is the subject. In cases where it's obvious who or what the subject is, it's almost guaranteed that the subject will be omitted, and so you're left with
أكلت تفاحة.
On the other hand, when it's unclear who or what the subject is, or if you wanted to place emphasis on the subject, like if you wanted to declare from a group of people that it was you who ate the apple, then you would include the subject.
أكلت أنا تفاحة.
But more often than not, most sentences spoken in daily Arabic conversation can be spoken without including the subject at all, particularly if that subject is you.
فتحت الصندوق. عدت إلى المنزل بالقطار.
Knowing this, we can easily express any simple action in Arabic using just the object and the verb. Try to create the sentence, I ate a hot dog, from this set of words.
أكلت hot dog.
Okay, got it? So we know the verb order of Arabic is VSO. The verb goes first, so let's put ate here. Next would come the subject, but as we learned earlier, we can afford to ignore the subject since the speaker is the same person taking action. Finally, we can add the object hot dog at the end there. And that's it.
أكلت hot dog.
You just learned how to say, I ate a hot dog in Arabic. Well done!
أكلت hot dog.
You can create any basic sentence like this in Arabic if you simply know the word for the verb and the object in Arabic. Let's wrap up this lesson by recapping what you've learned. In this lesson, you learned that Arabic sentences are formed using a verb, subject, object, or VSO word order. Most sentences spoken in Arabic will not actually contain a subject, especially if that subject is obvious, like when it's you, yourself, the speaker. And lastly, you can create basic sentences in Arabic by putting the verb first and the object last. In this lesson, you'll learn the basics of Arabic writing. First, let's introduce you to the Arabic alphabet.
The Arabic alphabet consists of 28 letters.
There are 3 vowels,
Alif, Wa, Ya.
the rest are consonants.
Ba, Ta, Tha, Jim, Dal, Ra, Za.
And so on. 5 consonant letters are emphatic or hard versions of other letters. They're pronounced deeper in the throat.
Dad, Ha, Sad, Dha, Qaf. Let's talk a little bit about the sequence that they are written in.
Just like how English orders its alphabet in A, B, C, and so forth, there is a proper order in which Arabic letters are sequenced too.
There are actually 2 ways the Arabic alphabet is ordered. One is called abjad and the other hija. For this introductory lesson, just understand that abjad is the older version, while the hija is the newer version that's commonly used in modern-day dictionaries.
So if you had to choose, try to learn the newer version.
Hija. Just like how there are abjad and hija orders of the Arabic alphabet, there are also 2 different styles of writing in Arabic. The first is classical Arabic, the language of the Quran, in the classical literature. It differs from the other type of written Arabic in style and vocabulary, some of which is abandoned now.
The second is modern standard Arabic, the universal language of the Arabic-speaking world, which is understood by all Arabic speakers. It's the language of the vast majority of written material and of formal TV shows, lectures, and so on.
Once again, you can think of them as the old and the newer style.
The biggest difference between these 2 writing styles is that classical Arabic represents vowels, while modern standard Arabic mostly does not. Let's try to draw a comparison to English to better demonstrate this point. Take, for example, a word like cover in English. It's written C-O-V-E-R. This is how you would write it in classical Arabic.
In modern standard Arabic, however, it's customary to omit the vowels. So it will be written CVR in modern standard Arabic.
In this case, the vowels are merely implied. It relies on you to fill in the gaps on your own to come up with the correct word based on context.
This makes learning Arabic more difficult in the beginning, but once you become proficient, it will be like reading in shorthand.
Let's see what it would look like in Arabic.
Take the verb for go in Arabic. Classical Arabic will be written like this. In pronounced, ذهب.
Modern Standard Arabic, however, would remove the vowels, so it would appear like this, and be pronounced
ذهب. 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 Vowel text appear in the Quran. They are also used, though with less consistency, in other religious texts, in classical poetry, in books for children, in foreign learners, and occasionally in complex texts to avoid ambiguity.
Modern Standard Arabic is used everywhere else, meaning it's much more common, so most of the time the vowels would not be written at all.
The writing style of Arabic may require some getting used to, because unlike English and other Western languages, Arabic is written in the opposite direction, from right to left.
So, using the previous example,
ذهب. The goes first, followed by ha and then be. While words are written from right to left, numerals are written from left to right instead, so please keep that in mind.
Okay, now that you know that Arabic is written from right to left, let's talk a bit about the different forms of a letter.
As you can see, Arabic is written in cursive. Unlike English, writing cursive in Arabic is not optional. It is always written this way, where letters within a word connect from one to the next.
Each letter is written differently depending on their position within a word. A letter can exhibit up to 4 distinct forms: initial, medial, final, or isolated.
Take the letter B, for example.
This letter is written in the initial form. When it's the first letter in a word, it'll be written like this.
باء بيض.
It'll be written in the medial form when it's wedged between 2 other letters.
باء انطباع.
It'll be written in the final form when it's the last letter in a word.
باء واجب.
And when the letter stands alone, it'll be written using the isolated form.
باء.
Well done! Now let's end this lesson by recapping what we've learned. In this lesson, you learned that there are 28 letters in the Arabic alphabet. 3 of them are vowels and the rest are consonants. Texts using classical Arabic are voweled, but more commonly, everyday Arabic is written using modern Standard Arabic, which nearly always has them omitted. You also learned that Arabic is written from right to left, and that there are 4 forms of a letter: the initial, medial, final, and isolated. In this lesson, we'll focus on teaching you the most useful Arabic words and phrases for absolute beginners.
Make sure you are repeating the words out loud after I say the examples.
Are you ready? Let's get started. The best phrase to learn when studying a new language is one that expresses gratitude and appreciation. If you had to learn only a single phrase, this would be it.
We taught you this phrase in the first lesson of this series. Do you remember what it was? شكراً. It means thank you. شكراً.
Keep repeating after Yafa until you get it.
شكراً.
Your turn.
شكراً. شكراً.
Okay, one last time.
شكراً.
The next phrase we'll teach you is perhaps the second most useful phrase of all. It's to apologize or to excuse yourself.
معذرة. And it means sorry or excuse me. معذرة.
Use this phrase when you want to grab a waiter's attention or when you're hustling through the busy streets of Cairo.
معذرة.
Repeat after Yafa.
معذرة.
Your turn.
معذرة.
Imagine you're on the street and you want to stop someone to ask them for directions. What do you say?
معذرة.
Okay, one last time.
معذرة.
Now you can say thank you, excuse me, and sorry in Arabic. Let's move on. Asking where something is an incredibly important and useful phrase to learn. You're going to need this when asking where the bathroom, the train station, or where the hotel is. To ask where something is, put where first,
أين.
and then add the name of the place or location. For example, if you want to ask, where is the bathroom?
أين الحمام.
Do you remember emphatic consonants in Arabic? We talked about it briefly in Lesson 2 on pronunciation.
The letter H is pronounced deep in the throat. H.
This sound is pronounced very deep in the throat. You want to make an H sound, but with the throat constricted a little.
H.
One trick to produce this sound is to push your tongue as far back in your mouth as you can and then say the word hot. It should help you to pronounce this sound.
H.
One last time.
H. الحمام. أين الحمام.
Try saying the complete sentence.
أين الحمام.
Once more.
أين الحمام.
Well done. Now, if you wanted to ask where the train station is in Arabic, it'll be
أين محطة القطار. أين محطة القطار.
Repeat it again.
أين محطة القطار.
So you can ask where something is simply by saying
أين.
and then adding the name of the place or location. So if the word for hotel is,
فندق.
how would you ask, where is the hotel in Arabic? First you would say,
أين؟
then add hotel.
فندق. فندق. فندق ماريوت القاهرة. فندق ماريوت القاهرة.
Convenience store in Arabic is,
بقالة.
where is the convenience store would be,
أين البقالة؟ أين البقالة؟
repeat it one last time.
أين البقالة؟
You can ask where anything is in Arabic by saying,
أين؟
and then adding the place or location. In this final lesson, you learned how to say thank you, excuse me, sorry, and to ask where something is in Arabic. And in this series, we introduced you to the basics of Arabic pronunciation, grammar, writing, and more. Let's conclude with some parting advice from Yafa and listen to some of her tips on how to learn Arabic from a native Arabic perspective.
The best way to learn Arabic, particularly if you want to improve your communication skills, is to watch and study contemporary Arabic videos. That's because we often use expressions that aren't necessarily introduced in grammar textbooks. I believe that listening to Arabic music is one of the easiest ways to immerse yourself and to learn Arabic. Additionally, music teaches you all sorts of things, including cultural expressions and the values of a community. You get to learn much more than just the language. Finally, watching contemporary videos such as our video here at ArabicPod101.com will ensure that you are learning real, applicable Arabic in the fastest and most effective way.
Welcome to ArabicPod101.com's العربية في 3 دقائق, the fastest, easiest, and most fun way to learn Arabic. مرحباً, أنا كارول, سررت بلقائك. Hi, I'm Carol, nice to meet you. In this series, العربية في 3 دقائق, we're going to learn basic Arabic expressions. It's super easy and it takes only 3 minutes. In this lesson, you're going to learn how to introduce yourself in Arabic. There are a few other ways to say it depending on how formal you want to be. Let's first look at an informal way to introduce yourself in Arabic. مرحباً, أنا كارول, سررت بلقائك. Hi, I'm Carol, it's a pleasure to meet you. مرحباً, أنا كارول, سررت بلقائك. Now you try it. Start by saying مرحباً, which is the equivalent of hi. Then say أنا, literally I am, followed by your name. أنا كارول is I am Carol. Finally, say nice to meet you. If you're talking to a man, you say سررت بلقائك. If you are talking to a woman, say سررت بلقائك. This phrase means pleasure to meet you. In the English phrase pleasure to meet you, you is a neutral word. You can use it for both men and women. But in Arabic, the word you needs a gender. When you change the last letter in لقائك, a, to an e sound, لقائك, you are actually changing the word you from the male to the female version. Please be careful to use the correct version. Now let's see another way of introducing yourself. In this version, you will say, hi, my name is Carol instead of, hi, I am Carol. And we will learn another way of saying, nice to meet you. مرحباً, اسمي كارول. تشرفت بمعرفتك. Hi, my name is Carol. I am honored to meet you. مرحباً, اسمي كارول. تشرفت بمعرفتك. What has changed from the previous introduction? Let's take a close look at these together. First, مرحباً, أنا كارول has changed to مرحباً, اسمي كارول. So, instead of saying, hi, I am Carol, we are speaking in a more formal way by saying, hi, my name is Carol. Next, after giving your name, instead of saying سررت بلقائك, you say تشرفت بمعرفتك, or I am honored to meet you, which is a bit more formal. Again, we should not forget to change the ending of the word depending on the gender of the person you're speaking to. It would be تشرفت بمعرفتك for a man and تشرفت بمعرفتك in case of a woman. One more time, here are the 4 ways you learn to introduce yourself in Arabic. Informally, مرحباً, أنا كارول, سررت بلقائك if you are speaking to a man, and مرحباً أنا كارول سررت بلقائك if you are speaking to a woman. The formal way to introduce yourself is مرحباً اسمي كارول تشرفت بمعرفتك if the person you're talking to is a man. And مرحباً اسمي كارول تشرفت بمعرفتك if that person is a woman. Now it's time for Carol's tips. When you introduce yourself in the Middle East or Northern African countries, it's polite to offer your right hand for a handshake or give 3 kisses on the cheeks, although the rules vary depending on where you are. Arab people place great value on politeness. So, for example, it is considered rude to enter a room or a place without greeting everyone. If you use the right sentence to introduce yourself, they'll definitely be impressed. In the last lesson, we learned how to introduce ourselves in Arabic. Today, we're going to learn how to use good manners as we thank people. هل أنتم جاهزون? Are you ready? فلنبدأ. Then let's start. There are several ways to thank someone. Let's start with the most common phrase, شكراً. شكراً. شكراً means thank you. To say thank you very much, you just need to add جزيلاً. شكراً جزيلاً. شكراً جزيلاً. Shukran is a formal way of saying thank you. If you want to thank someone more casually, say متشكر if you're a man and متشكرة if you're a woman. متشكر, متشكرة. This phrase means I am grateful or I am thankful. When someone thanks you, how should you answer? There's no set response like you're welcome in English, but there are a few things you can say. The first is بكل سرور. This means with pleasure. بكل سرور. Another phrase you can say is تحت أمرك, which literally means at your service or at your disposal. If you're talking to a woman, you should say تحت أمرك. تحت أمرك. تحت أمرك. It is often used as a funny way of responding to someone thanking you. There are so many ways of saying you're welcome in Arabic. Another one is لا شكر على واجب, which means don't thank me, it's my duty. لا شكر على واجب. Now it's time for Carol's tips. شكراً can mean thank you or thanks. Arabic language is very emotional and relations between Arab people are very personal. So what if you want to use an expression that sounds more friendly? In that case, you can use Allah يخليك. This is a nice way to thank someone. That means, may God protect you. In the last lesson, we learned how to thank people by saying shukran and shukran jazilan. In this lesson, we learned some of the most common greetings used in Arabic-speaking countries. هل أنتم جاهزون? Are you ready? فلنبدأ. Then let's start. The most common greeting is marhaban or hi. Marhaban. This is a general way to greet people when you see them. A more cultural greeting is Assalamu alaikum. This means peace be with you and is generally used only by Muslims. We say it when we meet someone and also when we leave. Assalamu alaikum. Someone could respond to Assalamu alaikum with marhaban or hi, but it is more polite to respond to such greetings in the corresponding way. Since Assalamu alaikum means peace be with you, when greeted in that way, we should answer back with wa alaikum assalam, which literally means peace be with you too. Wa alaikum assalam. Whether you use marhaban, hi, or assalamu alaikum, it is also polite to ask the person how they are. Kaifa haluka? How are you? Kaifa haluka? Don't forget that in Arabic, the word you needs to have a gender. So, كيف حالك is good if you are talking to a man, but if you are talking to a woman, you should ask كيف حالك? كيف حالك? When it's time to leave, you can say وداعا or goodbye. وداعا. The other person can reply مع السلامة, which means be safe. مع السلامة. Let's review the phrases you've learned in this lesson. مرحبا is hi. Assalamu alaikum is peace be with you. The response is wa alaikum assalam. كيف حالك or كيف حالك is how are you. وداعاً is goodbye. And مع السلامة is be safe. Now it's time for Carol's tips. If you're leaving and you want to show the person that you would like to see them again, you can use إلى اللقاء, meaning see you, or إلى اللقاء قريباً, see you soon. إلى اللقاء, إلى اللقاء قريباً. Now you know lots of ways to greet people in Arabic. In the last lesson, we learned the most common forms of greetings in Arabic. Do you remember them? We introduced marhaban and assalamu alaikum, as well as shukran and ila liqa. In this lesson, we're going to learn a very useful phrase. Do you speak English? If you find yourself in a situation where you need assistance in English, this phrase can be a lifesaver. And because you're asking it in Arabic, you can be sure that everyone will understand what you're saying, even if their answer is no. Are you ready? Then let's start. Here's the basic way to ask if someone speaks English. هل تتكلم الإنجليزية? If you are talking to a male. And هل تتكلمين الإنجليزية? If you are talking to a female. هل تتكلم الإنجليزية؟ هل تتكلمين الإنجليزية؟ هل means do. You and speak are merged in the same word تتكلم for males and تتكلمين for females. إنجليزية means English. This is an indirect way of asking someone to speak to you in English. There are many ways of making it clear that you're asking the person to speak English to you. For example, هل بإمكانك التكلم بالإنجليزية? Means, could you speak English? هل بإمكانك means, could you? Are you able to? Or, is it possible to? And is referring to the ability of the person to speak English. Again, if you're talking to a female, you should change the last accent of ka to ki. So the question becomes, هل بإمكانك التكلم بالإنجليزية? التكلم means speaking, and بالإنجليزية is in English. To be more formal, we could add the word please to the request to make it هل بإمكانك التكلم بالإنجليزية من فضلك? In this case, the question cannot mean the person's ability to speak English anymore, because you are obviously asking them to speak English to you. Since in Arabic the word please literally means from your favor, it should also be changed according to the person's gender. So, in case of a female, we should also change the ka ending of please in min fadlika to min fadliki. The question becomes هل بإمكانك التكلم بالإنجليزية من فضلك? The responses you will receive could be one of these three. نعم, yes. نعم. قليلاً, a little. قليلاً. There are a few ways of saying no in Arabic. لا or كلا. No, I don't speak English is لا أنا لا أتكلم الإنجليزية. لا أنا لا أتكلم الإنجليزية. It is exactly the same structure as in English. لا is no, أنا is I, لا means don't. أتكلم is I speak, and الإنجليزية is English. Since this last one is a negative statement, we need to say لا before the verb أتكلم or speak. لا literally means no, but when placed before a verb, it negates this verb, becoming don't or doesn't. Notice also that the verb أتكلم is slightly different than تتكلم, which we learned before. Remember, the verb changes depending on the pronoun used. We are now talking about أنا, Arabic for I. Thus, I do not speak is أنا لا أتكلم. Now it's time for Carol's tips. For those of you who are not native English speakers, you can obviously use this question with any language you need. Arab people study other languages at school, depending on the country they live in, so maybe you'll get lucky. Just substitute al-Ingliziyya with al-Faransiyya for French, الإيطالية for Italian, الإسبانية for Spanish, or الألمانية for German. In this lesson, you learned how to ask if someone can speak English. In the next lesson, we'll learn how to say "excuse me" and other ways to apologize in Arabic. I'll see you in the next العربية في 3 دقائق lesson. إلى اللقاء.
Want more Arabic videos like this? Subscribe to our channel.
مرحباً, أنا كارول. Hi everybody, I'm Carol. Welcome to ArabicPod101.com's العربية في 3 دقائق, the fastest, easiest, and most fun way to learn Arabic. In the last lesson, we learned the phrases هل تتكلم الإنجليزية? Do you speak English? And هل بإمكانك التكلم بالإنجليزية? Could you speak English? And we mentioned the word من فضلك, which means please in Arabic. In this lesson, we're going to learn how to use المعذرة or عفواً and أنا آسف and other words when apologizing in Arabic. We should use المعذرة or عفواً when we want to say excuse me, such as when we are ordering something in a bar or a restaurant. For example, المعذرة قهوة من فضلك or عفواً قهوة من فضلك. Excuse me, a coffee please. We can also use it when asking a question. المعذرة أين المحطة? Or عفواً أين المحطة? Excuse me, where is the station? Sometimes we also hear people say من فضلك or please to draw somebody's attention. من فضلك. If the person is a woman, we replace the ending with ki, so it becomes من فضلك. In case you want to use excuse me to apologize instead of asking something, you should say عذراً. It can be used if you accidentally bump into someone on the street. عذراً. Just like عذراً, we can use أنا آسف when apologizing. It literally means I'm sorry or pardon me. As we learned in the last lesson, أنا means I. So the adjective that follows should be modified according to the gender. So if you're a woman, you should say أنا آسفة instead of أنا آسف. All of these phrases can be used for either excuse me or I'm sorry. But if you really want to apologize for something, it might be better to use a different phrase. That phrase is the verb سامحني. سامحني. It can be translated as forgive me in English. It is a bit stronger, but it can be used in both formal and informal situations. Again, since سامحني means that you are asking for the other person's forgiveness, it should be changed according to the gender. So it becomes سامحيني if the other person is a female. سامحيني. Now it's time for Carol's tips. Please remember that in most of the Arab countries, if you accidentally bump into someone, you don't say forgive me, سامحني, which is for a more serious annoyance. Instead, we say عذراً or أنا آسف, excuse me or I am sorry. In the last lesson, we learned some words used when apologizing in Arabic, including عذراً and أنا آسف. In this lesson, we are going to learn digits in Arabic. Yes, digits, al-arqam, from 1 to 9. And you are going to learn them in only 3 minutes. 3 دقائق. Are you ready? Let's start. واحد. واحد. اثنان. اثنان. ثلاثة. ثلاثة. أربعة. أربعة. خمسة. خمسة. ستة. ستة. سبعة. سبعة. ثمانية. ثمانية. تسعة. تسعة. Okay, now repeat after me. I'll say the digits and give you time to repeat each one. واحد. اثنان. ثلاثة. أربعة. خمسة. ستة. سبعة. ثمانية. تسعة. Great job! What is before واحد? Do you know? It's صفر. صفر. You don't have any more excuses. You can give your friends your cell phone number in Arabic. Let's try together. We use the phrase رقمي هو, which means my number is. رقمي هو. رقمي هو 0 3 7 1 2 4 9 6. Can you read it by yourself? 0 3 7 1 2 4 9 6. Perfect. Do you know the Arabic word for 10? In the next lesson, we are going to learn the numbers from 10 to 100 in Arabic. Your task now is to practice the numbers we studied in this lesson from 0 to 9. إلى اللقاء. In the last lesson, we learned the digits al-arqam from 1 to 9. Have you forgotten? Here I'll tell you again. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9. In Arabic, after digit 9, the digits or al-arqam starting with number 10 become al-a'dad or numbers. And now let's continue from 10. 10 10 11 11 12 12 13 13 14 14 15 15 16 16 17 17 18 18 19 19. And finally we have 20 20. Okay, now repeat after me. I'll say the numbers and give you time to repeat each one. 10 11 12 13 14 15 16 17 18 19 20. These numbers may seem harder to remember, but you really just have to memorize 11, 12, and 20. As for the rest, you just need to replace the H ending of the digits we learned before with ta followed by the word 10. Let's not stop at 20. Counting to 100 is super easy. Now I give you the tens. 30 30 40 40 50 50 60 60 70 70 80 80 90 90 100 100. While you have to memorize a few of these numbers, there are a couple of tricks that will make memorizing them incredibly easy. Notice that 30 is 30 and 40 is 40. So 40 or 40 is simply 4 with a different ending. The final a is replaced with un. 40. For example, 80 is 80. The digit 8, which you learned in the last lesson, is 8. So in this case, the iya was removed and replaced with ثمانون. The last thing we learn in this lesson is how to form compound numbers above 20. This is also super easy. Take the tens and simply add before them the digits you learned in the previous lesson with some slight changes. Just remember that above 20, wa or and comes between the two words. Let's try it out. How would you say 56 in Arabic? Let's take it step by step. 50 is khamsun, and then add the changed 6 and or wa before 50. So in other words, it is 6 and 50. 6, which is sitta, becomes sittatun when you replace the final h with tun. Sittatun wa khamsun. It's done, isn't that easy? Let's make another number. For instance, 98. Take 90, tis'un, and add before it the changed 8. ثمانية. ثمانية وتسعون. After only 2 lessons, you are now able to count to 100 in Arabic. In the next lesson, we are going to put our number knowledge to use. Do you have all the skills you need to go shopping in Arabic-speaking countries? If not, I'll be waiting for you in our next العربية في 3 دقائق lesson. In the last lesson, we learned how to count in Arabic. I hope you spent some time practicing the numbers because they will come in handy in this lesson. We're going to learn how to go shopping in Arabic-speaking countries. Before we go, you need to know how to say, how much is this? بكم هذا? بكم هذا? Are you ready to go shopping? Let's go. You see something you like and you want to ask the shopkeeper how much it costs. The first thing to say is, عفواً. Do you remember what that means? Excuse me. عفواً بكم هذا? عفواً بكم هذا? Another way of asking how much is this is to say, what is the price of this? Or, كم ثمن هذا? Next, if we are specifying what the object is, we need to know if the object is feminine or masculine. If it is masculine, keep هذا when referring to it. And if it is feminine, use هذه. Then, if you would like to specify the name of the object, you first say el, which is like the, and then say the noun. For example, pen is masculine. قلم. عفواً, كم ثمن هذا القلم? Excuse me, what is the price of this pen? عفواً, كم ثمن هذا القلم? And محفظة is a feminine noun that means wallet. عفواً, كم ثمن هذه المحفظة? Excuse me, how much is this wallet? عفواً, كم ثمن هذه المحفظة? At this point, the shopkeeper can answer by saying just the price, or ثمنه plus the price for a masculine noun, and ثمنها plus the price for a feminine noun. For example, 20 lira, 20 liras, or ثمنه 20 lira, its price is 20 liras. Now it's time for Carol's tips. After asking for the price, we can ask for the number of items we want, and combine the words we learned before to make a good sentence. اثنان من فضلك, 2 please. At this point, can you change the numbers according to the gender of the noun that follows in Arabic? We are going to learn how to do this and much more in the next lesson. I'll be waiting for you in the next العربية في 3 دقائق lesson. إلى اللقاء قريباً.
Welcome to the Ultimate Arabic Pronunciation Guide. In this series, you'll master Arabic pronunciation. Proper pronunciation is essential in Arabic, and in this series, you'll learn it in a fast, comprehensive, and easy way. In this first lesson, you'll learn about the building blocks of the Arabic pronunciation system that will help you in future lessons. Arabic uses an abjad writing system where each symbol is codified as a consonant. All 28 letters in the Arabic alphabet are consonants. There are no letters that represent vowels in Arabic. This does not mean that the Arabic language lacks vowels altogether, though, because vowel sounds do exist, but they're just implied. Consider this English example. See if you can guess the sentence. Even without the vowels, it's very likely that you figured out that the correct reading of this sentence is, he went to the park. This is similar to what it's like to read in Arabic. But be careful not to fall into a very common trap. As you're learning to speak correctly, you shouldn't concern yourself with all the letters. That's right,
Forget them. You care about the sounds of Arabic, and here they are. There are 28 consonant sounds and 6 vowel sounds. Each symbol that you see here represents a single sound determined by the IPA, which is a standardized way to represent sounds without the baggage that's often involved with traditional letters. By using all of these sounds, you can form every single word in Arabic. Still seem complicated? Well, how about this? Of the 28 consonant sounds in Arabic, you already know 19 of the original sounds. That's right. If you're a native English speaker, then you already make these sounds every day. You can also ignore all of the vowel sounds for the same reason. The only thing standing between you and perfect Arabic pronunciation is 9 new consonant sounds. You can handle that. Now let me introduce Parihan, who will be helping you to master these new sounds.
مرحبا أنا بريهان.
Parihan will be giving you native pronunciation examples for you to imitate, but for this first lesson, just sit back and listen to the unique sounds of Arabic.
حتى رد صوت ضوء طول ظل قوي غالي عالي.
In the next lesson, we'll look at the top 5 pronunciation mistakes Arabic learners make. You'll want to make sure not to fall into these common traps. After that, we'll start going through the vowels and consonants of Arabic. This is your chance to learn how to correctly say all of the words you just heard. We'll finish up the series by covering some special topics that will really make your Arabic sound natural. To wrap up this lesson, here's a question for you. Why is it important to spend time on learning proper pronunciation, even if you're already an advanced speaker? The answer, you will be understood, and this will help you build more confidence as you communicate in Arabic. As beginners, you're creating a strong foundation to build on. And for more advanced students, this is your chance to improve your accent and lose any bad habits you may have picked up. What is the hardest part of Arabic pronunciation? Tell us about it in the comments. Hi everyone! Welcome to the Ultimate Arabic Pronunciation Guide. In this lesson, you'll learn the top 5 Arabic pronunciation mistakes to avoid. These are common mistakes that students of Arabic tend to make. So pay close attention and make sure that you don't make these same mistakes too. Are you ready? Then let's get started. Number 1. Can't pronounce rolled R's. The Arabic R is a challenging sound for most learners of Arabic. Don't be discouraged though, as it is a naturally difficult sound. Many Arab children have difficulty pronouncing this sound. With enough practice, however, you'll be able to overcome it. The only way to solve this problem is to keep listening to native Arabic speakers and practicing it yourself, or practicing with us. Listen to the following examples.
ورد رد.
We'll teach you how to perfect this complex sound in Lesson 6. Number 2. Mispronouncing the L sound. The Arabic L sound is peculiar because it sounds somewhat like an English L, but not exactly. The problem arises when speakers begin substituting the English L for this sound, and when you do, native speakers will notice immediately that Arabic is not your native language. Listen to Perihan and pay attention to the way it's pronounced in the following words.
لون أهلا.
Unlike the English L, the tongue is ever so slightly flatter and straighter in Arabic. Don't worry if you don't get it right away, because we'll break down this sound in Lesson 5.
ع أ أ.
Many learners tend to confuse these two sounds because both are throaty sounds that are uncommon in Western languages. The first sound sounds like a deep and turbulent sound that rumbles far in the throat. You'll have to retract the back part of your tongue into your mouth to cause constriction in your throat. This sound is arguably the trickiest sound in Arabic, but don't give up. You'll master it with practice. The second sound is actually deeper in the throat than the first. So deep, in fact, that it causes the vocal cords to stop momentarily, causing a buildup of pressure. It's the sound you make in between the and o in uh-oh. Listen to both of these sounds in a few examples.
عسل فأر عائلة.
We'll teach you all you need to know about these two sounds in Lesson 7. There are many dialects in Arabic, so much so that it often feels like each dialect is like a language in its own. This can be daunting for new learners because there are just so many options that it's hard to decide which dialect to learn. This letter, for example, is pronounced like the J in jam in Standard Arabic, and in most dialects except for the Egyptian dialect. The Egyptian dialect, however, is one of the most widely understood dialects of Arabic because of the wide popularity of Egyptian media and movies. In Egyptian Arabic, this letter is pronounced like a regular English G, as in game. Let's listen to the difference one more time. In Standard
جديد
and in Egyptian.
جديد
Of course, both pronunciations are correct. The key thing is to be consistent with your pronunciation. There are two tricky aspects about this letter. The first is that it's a unique sound that does not exist in many languages. Let's listen to how it's pronounced in the word time in Standard Arabic.
وقت وقت
The second aspect is that this letter is pronounced differently in different dialects. The previous pronunciation occurs in Standard Arabic and in the Arab countries of Northwest Africa, like Morocco, Algeria, Libya, and Tunisia. In Egyptian and Levantine dialects, this letter is a glottal stop, like the stopping sound in uh-oh. Compare the pronunciation of this letter first in Standard Arabic and then in Egyptian dialect.
وقت 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 وقت
Now you know the top 5 Arabic pronunciation mistakes to avoid. Try to be careful so that you don't make the same mistakes. Hi everyone, welcome to the Ultimate Arabic Pronunciation Guide. In this lesson, you'll learn all 6 Arabic vowel sounds.
أ أ إي إي أو أو
By learning all of these sounds, you'll be able to pronounce any vowel that could possibly appear in Arabic. Are you ready? Then let's get started. The first vowel sound is
أ أمل شمس هرم
it's identical to the A in apple. Be sure to pronounce it nice and short.
أ أ أ أ
The next vowel sound is
أ مال رنا بات
it's just like the previous vowel, but longer. Notice how your mouth opens wider and the pressure is closer to the back of your mouth and throat than compared to the previous A sound. The sound should be deep, and you should feel your vocal cords vibrating. It should also be pronounced longer than the previous A sound.
أ أ أ أ
The next vowel sound is
إي طفل كتاب حساب
it's identical to the I in sit. Be sure to pronounce it nice and short.
إي 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 إي
The next vowel sound is
إي ميعاد فريد حديد
it's identical to the I in ski. Be sure to pronounce it longer than the previous I sound.
إي 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 إي
The next vowel sound is
أو سم هدهد مفيد
it's identical to the U in put. Be sure to pronounce it nice and short.
أو 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 أو
The last vowel sound is
أو جنون فنون بدون
it's identical to the OU in U. Be sure to pronounce it longer than the previous U sound.
أو 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 أو
Well done! You've just learned all 6 vowel sounds in Arabic. With these sounds, you can pronounce any vowel that could possibly appear in the Arabic language. Isn't that great? Which vowel sound was the most difficult for you to pronounce? Let us know in the comments. In the next lesson, you'll start learning consonant sounds. See you in the next Ultimate Arabic Pronunciation Guide.
Okay. Hi everyone, my name is Perihan. Welcome to ArabicPod101.com. And today we're going to learn the top 25 Arabic verbs. Let's get started. يكون, to be. The first verb we have today is يكون, verb to be. To be or not to be? That's the question. في ديسمبر الجو بيكون برد. In December the weather is cold. It's very easy. يحب, to like. يحب, to like. So for example you can say أنا بحب الفراولة. I like strawberry. I do, because berry, strawberry, you know. We have a connection. يعمل, to do. يعمل, to do. For example you can say أنا على طول بعمل الواجب في ميعاده. I always do my homework on time. That's a lie. يقول, to say. يقول, to say. For example you can say أحمد دايما بيقول الحق. Ahmed always says the truth. يشرح, to explain. يشرح, to explain. For example you can say اديني فرصة أشرح موقفي. اديني فرصة أشرح موقفي. Give me a chance to explain my situation. يسمع, to hear or to listen. يسمع, to listen or to hear. بحب أسمع الأغاني القديمة. It means I like listening to old music from the 20th century, kind of. 20th, 30s. يروح, to go. يروح, to go. بابا بيروح الشغل كل يوم. My dad goes to work every day. You can say أنا بروح الشغل كل يوم. أنا بروح الشغل كل يوم. I go to work every day. Go to work, go to school. Work. يعرف, to know. يعرف, to know. عنده 2 لكن بيعرف ياكل لوحده. He's 2 years old yet he can eat by himself. ياخد, to take. ياخد, to take. You probably hear this a lot, like خد الزبالة معاك وانت ماشي, or خد الزبالة معاك وانت خارج. Don't forget to take the trash out. You have to take it out like this. الزبالة. The trash. يشوف, to see. يشوف, to see. For example you can say بشوف أحسن لما بلبس النظارة. I see much better when I put my glasses on. Yeah, I really cannot see. I do see here. Yeah. You're not John Cena either. If someone says hi, I'm like, who's this? يجي, to come. يجي, to come. For example, you can say النهاردة صاحبتي هتيجي تزورني. Today, my friend is coming to visit me. يفكر, to think. يفكر, to think. For example, you can say من الصبح وأنا عمالة أفكر في حل المشكلة دي. Since the morning, I've been thinking of a solution to this problem. يبص, to look. يبص, to look. For example, you can say بص القطر وصل. Look, the train has arrived. The train has arrived. The boys have arrived with a rabbit. South Park. يعوز, to want. يعوز, to want. أنا عايزة أنام. أنا عايزة أنام. I want to sleep. I'm so sleepy. يدي, to give. يدي, to give. For example, اديني قلم لو سمحت. Please give me a pen. يدي. يستخدم, to use. يستخدم, to use. أنا دايماً بستخدم sunblock قبل ما أخرج. I always use sunblock before I go out. Because it's too hot. It's too sunny. يلاقي, to find. يلاقي, to find. مش لاقية محفظتي في مكانها. I cannot find my wallet in its place. يخرج, to go out. يخرج, to go out. بحب أخرج أتمشى في الجنينة. Which means I like to go out for a walk in the park. يسأل, to ask. يسأل to ask. وهو صغير كان بيسأل أسئلة كتيرة. When he was young, he used to ask lots of questions. يشتغل to work. يشتغل to work. For example, you can say الكمبيوتر بتاعي مش شغال. My computer doesn't work. Work. يدخل to enter. يدخل to enter. خبط على الباب قبل ما تدخل لو سمحت. Please knock before you enter. يحاول to try. يحاول try. حاول تاني. Try again. And again. يتصل to call. يتصل to call. For example, you can say ممكن تتصل بيا بكرة? Can you please give me a call tomorrow? يجري to run. يجري to run. النمر بيجري بسرعة جدا. Tigers run very fast. Well, I'm wearing almost yellow like ينام to sleep. ينام to sleep. أنا امبارح نمت متأخر قوي. Yesterday I slept very late. Sadly. That's it for today. I hope you enjoyed the video and I hope you learned something. Why don't you use some of the verbs we just learned to write a comment below? Maybe like the video or subscribe for the channel, and don't forget to visit our website arabicpod101.com. Bye bye. My favorite verb is to sleep. Hi everyone, my name is Prihan and this is the Arabic Top Words. Today's topic is 10 phrases to amaze native speakers. So let's get started. أقدر أحفظ حوالي 50 كلمة عربي جديدة في اليوم. I can memorize around 50 new Arabic words a day. The first phrase is أقدر أحفظ حوالي 50 كلمة عربي جديدة في اليوم. I can memorize around 50 new Arabic words a day. أقدر أحفظ حوالي 50 كلمة. It's too long. Even I cannot memorize it. That sounds tough. Good luck. أقدر أتابع أفلام عربي من غير ترجمة. I can watch Arabic movies without subtitles. The next one is أقدر أتابع أفلام عربي من غير ترجمة. I can watch Arabic movies without subtitles. I think it's amazing to watch Arabic movies without subtitles because, as you all know, Arabic has a standard Arabic and dialect Arabic, and they're so different. So usually all movies are made in the dialect. So if you can listen to the dialect and understand so well without the subtitles, that means that you're very, very good at Arabic. Yeah. أنا بتعلم عربي لوحدي. I'm learning Arabic all by myself. أنا بتعلم عربي لوحدي. I'm learning Arabic all by myself. And this is amazing because Arabic is very difficult. So if you decide to learn it all by yourself, then you're a very smart person. All by myself. أنا فهمت كل اللي أنت قلته. I completely understood everything you said. أنا فهمت كل اللي أنت قلته. I completely understood everything you said. If you can understand native speakers without missing anything out, then you're doing a great job, I suppose. أنا أخدت سنة واحدة بس لغاية ما بقيت بتكلم بطلاقة. It took me only 1 year to become fluent. أنا أخدت سنة واحدة بس لغاية ما بقيت أتكلم بطلاقة. It took me only 1 year to become fluent. And this is amazing, and you can only achieve that by having lots of Egyptian friends you can speak with every day. So you can easily learn Egyptian Arabic fluently. You can speak it fluently in only 1 year or even less. العربي ممتع وسهل في التعليم. Arabic is fun and easy to learn. العربي ممتع وسهل في التعليم. Arabic is fun and easy to learn. And of course, Arabic is fun and easy to learn if you're doing it with us, Arabic Pod 101. أنا مش بس بعرف عربي. أنا بتكلم شوية لغات تانية برضو. Apart from knowing Arabic, I can speak a few other languages as well. أنا مش بس بعرف أتكلم عربي، ده أنا بعرف كمان أتكلم شوية لغات تانية. Apart from knowing Arabic, I can also speak a few other languages as well. For example, English. شكراً ليك، بس هي في الحقيقة مش لغتي الأم. Thank you, but it's not my native language actually. شكراً ليك، بس هي في الحقيقة مش لغتي الأم. Thank you, but it's not actually my native language. أنا بعرف أتكلم عربي بأكتر من لهجة. I can speak Arabic in more than one dialect. أنا بعرف أتكلم عربي بأكتر من لهجة. I can speak Arabic in more than one dialect. For example, I can say شكو ماكو حبيبي. It means how are you or what's up, my love or حبيبي in Iraqi dialect. أنا بعرف أقرأ عربي كمان. I can also read Arabic. The next phrase is أنا كمان بعرف أقرأ عربي. I can also read Arabic. And if you would like to practice Arabic more, you will most certainly find your favorite books in Arabic translated. And that's it for today. What was your favorite phrase? Can you write it below in the comments? Don't forget to subscribe and comment and visit our website, arabicpod101.com. Bye-bye.
Want to speak real Arabic from your first lesson? Sign up for your free lifetime account at arabicpod101.com.
Hi everyone, I'm Perihan and today we're going to have the top 25 Arabic phrases. So let's begin. Assalamu alaikum. Hello. Assalamu alaikum. Hello. So this is the most basic greeting we have in Arabic. So if you enter anywhere, please say Assalamu alaikum. Sabah al khair. Good morning. Sabah al khair. Good morning. And this is so easy. When you see someone in the morning, just tell them Sabah al khair. It sounds cool. Masa al khair. Good afternoon. Masa al khair. That is good afternoon. تصبح على خير. Good night. تصبح على خير. That is good night. When someone goes to bed, you simply tell them تصبح على خير. Good night. ما اسمك? What's your name? السلام عليكم. ما اسمك? Hello, what's your name? أنا بريهان. I am Perihan. So in reply, the other person says أنا and then their name. أنا means I am and then they put their name. So ما اسمك? What's your name? أنا بريهان. I am Perihan. تشرفنا. Nice to meet you. تشرفنا. Nice to meet you. So now you have a whole conversation. ما اسمك? أنا بريهان. تشرفنا. What's your name? I am Perihan. Nice to meet you. كيف حالك? How are you? كيف حالك? How are you? How are you doing? السلام عليكم. كيف حالك? Hello. How are you doing? أنا بخير. شكرا. ماذا عنك? I'm fine. Thanks. And you? And this is the reply to السلام عليكم. كيف حالك? That is hello. How are you? And you say أنا بخير. شكرا. ماذا عنك? I'm fine. Thank you. How about you? من فضلك. Please. من فضلك. That means please. So you can say اجلس من فضلك, which means please sit down. شكرا. Thank you. شكرا, which means thank you. شكرا على الهدية. Thank you for the present. عفوا. You're welcome. عفوا. You're welcome. So from the beginning, شكرا على الهدية. Thank you for the present. And you reply, عفوا. You're welcome. نعم. Yes. نعم, which means yes. So for example, you can say, هل تريد قهوة? Do you want coffee? And you reply with نعم. Yes. And you can also add من فضلك. من فضلك, please. لا. No. The opposite of it, لا. لا, which means no. So one more. هل تريد قهوة? Do you want coffee? No. لا. And you can say شكرا. Thank you. حسنا. Okay. حسنا. Okay. فلنذهب إلى الحديقة. Let's go to the park. And you say حسنا. حسنا. Okay. عذرا. Excuse me. عذرا, which means excuse me. So for example, you can say عذرا علي الذهاب. عذرا علي الذهاب, which means excuse me, I have to go. أنا آسف. I am sorry. أنا آسف, which means I'm sorry. For example, you can say أنا آسف على التأخير. I'm sorry I am late. كم الساعة? What time is it? كم الساعة, which means what time is it? You can ask someone كم الساعة؟ كم الساعة الآن? Which means what time is it now? And you can say it's 1:30. إنها 1:30. إنها 1:30. أين المرحاض? Where is the restroom? أين المرحاض? Where is the restroom? So you can say عذراً أين المرحاض? Excuse me, where is the restroom? انتظر لحظة. Wait a moment. عذراً انتظر لحظة, which means excuse me, wait a moment. بكم هذا? How much is this? بكم هذا الفستان? How much is this dress? الحساب لو سمحت. Could I get the check, please? So for example, if you're in a restaurant, you can do this simple hand sign, which is like this, and you say الحساب لو سمحت. الحساب لو سمحت. Could I have the check, please? النجدة. Help. النجدة, which means help. So for example, you can say لقد سرقت حقيبتي. My bag was stolen. النجدة. Help. أراك لاحقاً. See you later. أراك لاحقاً, which means see you later. So when you say goodbye to your friend, you tell him أراك لاحقاً. And if you're saying goodbye to a group of friends, you say أراكم لاحقاً. أراكم لاحقاً. مع السلامة. Goodbye. مع السلامة, which means goodbye. أنا ذاهب إلى المنزل. مع السلامة. I'm going home. Goodbye. And that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed this lesson, and please subscribe and comment below about your favorite Arabic phrase. Goodbye. Oh, yeah. Oh, no. Okay. Hi, everyone. My name is Firhan, and this is Arabic Top Words. Today, we're doing the 10 phrases you always want to hear. Let's get started. شكلك حلو النهاردة. You look great today. The first phrase is شكلك حلو النهاردة. You look great today. You look great. Awesome. Like shining. وحشتني or وحشني. I miss you. Oh. The second one is وحشتني. I miss you. And sometimes you'll hear Egyptian people say وحشني. And the meaning is almost the same, but وحشني is I miss you, and وحشتني is I've missed you. But we usually use it the same way, so وحشتني or وحشني. برافو عليك. You did a great job. برافو عليك. You did a great job. Bravo. It's French, and we use it like in class, for example, they say bravo. ممتاز means great. So they say bravo, ممتاز. هيكون في بونص في آخر الشهر. There will be a bonus at the end of the month. This is every employee's dream, is to hear هيكون في بونص آخر الشهر. There will be a bonus by the end of the month. I would love to hear this. Yeah. أنتِ طباخة ممتازة. You're an excellent cook. The next one is every mother or every girl's dream. أنتِ طباخة ممتازة. أنتِ طباخة ممتازة. You're an excellent cook. استريحي أنتِ وأنا هنضف النهاردة. Take a break. I'll do the cleaning today. And this is every mother's dream, is to hear استريحي أنتِ وأنا هنضف النهاردة. You take a break. I'll clean today. I never say that. I'm such a bad person. But I usually clean my room so my mom doesn't have to clean it. أنت كسبت. You won. أنت كسبت. You win. And usually in Arabic we say مبروك أنت كسبت. Congratulations, you won. Usually in Egypt we have this kind of commercials where they just pick a random person and say مبروك كسبت معنا عربية. Congratulations, you won a car with us. Yeah, but usually it's not true. Commercial beat. كان عندك حق. You were right. The next one is what everyone would like to hear sometimes is كان معك حق. You were right. And usually if you remember from previous lessons, we learned the word مش قلت لك كده? Didn't I tell you so? And usually you would respond or answer أيوة كان معك حق. Yes, you were right. جبت حاجة عشانك. I bought you something special. And the next one is what every girl likes to hear. جبت حاجة عشانك. جبت لك حاجة. I bought you something special. If someone says that to me, I'll be like, oh, even if it's too small, like, yeah. I don't know, I'll buy them something like a photo frame or something like that. And then maybe I will print some photos of us and do some origami and decorate it so it's personalized. Because I think personalized gifts, even if it's not so expensive, or I don't know, if you put your own touch, the gift will be really valued, but it's not going to be like a necklace or anything, like you can just easily lose it or something like that. Shukran. Thank you. And in the end, if someone tells you any of these compliments you just learned, for example, like انت جميل, انت طباخة ممتازة, you should always answer in shukran. Thank you. And that's it for today. Thank you for watching, and please write us below a compliment you would like to hear or we have not mentioned in this video. And also don't forget to subscribe and like, and visit our website arabicpod101.com. Bye bye.